am going to share with you how easy it is to make your own homemade apple cider vinegar. It requires 4 ingredients. That would be apple scraps, water, sugar, and the air. Now, before I get to making the apple cider vinegar, just to let you know, as I'm sure a lot of you already do know, the apple cider vinegar with the mother or raw apple cider vinegar is a probiotic. So it's very good for gut health. Apple cider vinegar has also been known or suggested to help blood sugar levels, to help reduce cholesterol. It also aids in digestion. So there's a lot of benefits to apple cider vinegar that I'm sure you can research and find out more. But it is a great food to eat. It's also very delicious. You can use it in marinades, dressings, sauces. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to get ourselves a large jar that's clean. I've got an especially large one because I'm making apple jelly. So I had all these leftover apple scraps, peels, cores, etc. So you take all your apple scraps, and this is really it's not hard and fast in terms of measurements. So as I said, we're going to need a jar, and just be cognizant of the size of jar because you're going to fill up your jar 3/4 of the way with your apple scraps, and the rest of it you're going to fill it up with water. So the volume of apples in this is obviously going to reduce the amount of liquid that you're going to extract in the end. So just be aware that for something this size, I'll probably get 2 26-ounce bottles of apple cider vinegar. For smaller jars, maybe you get 26-ounce, etc. So we're working with ratios. So take your clean jar and you're going to fill it up 3/4 of the way with your scrap apples. And as you can see, these are cores, they're peels, they're just chopped up, rough chopped. Then we're going to add 1/4 cup of sugar. And then we're going to fill this up with distilled water. And if you don't have distilled water, you can use tap water, but you need to leave it sit overnight in order for all the chemicals to dissipate, because the chemicals that are in the water can impair your ability to actually ferment the apples. So now we've got our apples, we've got our 1/4 cup of sugar, and now we're just going to top this off with water. So I have some distilled water. And now we're just going to fill it up to cover. And obviously the amount of water that you're putting in is close to the amount of vinegar that you will yield from your recipe. Then the next thing you're going to do, you're going to use a wooden spoon and basically just stir this around. Make sure that you distribute that sugar that you've put in here. And now we're going to take a simple cloth or a coffee filter. We're going to place this over the jar with an elastic band because you're going to want to keep the fruit flies out, but you're going to want to have this solution exposed to the air. So this needs the yeast that's in the air in order to help with the fermentation of the fruit and the water and the sugar, which will then turn it into alcohol. And from there, it will start creating a specific bacteria, which is called Acetobacter, that will start to feed on the natural sugars of the fruit and the sugar that you've added to the solution. So all this is going to be happening over the course of the next 30 days. You're going to see the fermentation right before your eyes. It's going to be bubbling and it will be foaming, but you do have to remember that in order to prevent the top from creating any kind of mold, because you want the good bacteria, but you don't want mold, you need to stir it every day. And you're going to be stirring it every day until this becomes acidic enough and has started to turn into vinegar, at which time you can stop stirring because the vinegar will kill any mold from forming, or will stop any more mold from forming. So I'm going to put this away. We're going to stir it every day for 30 days. Once the bubble and all the activity stops, because the fermentation has stopped, you'll be able to smell that it smells like vinegar. You will no longer need to stir it. At this point, you can dispense the apples and reserve the vinegar, and you can use the vinegar as is if you like the flavor, or you can continue to age it with the mother, which will form on the top of the fruit. So at the end of 60 days, you can dispense it, either use it or continue to age it. So I'm going to put this in the darkness, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So I'll be right back. This is from the beginning of September, and as you can see, I have all the fruit has sunk into the bottom. I've got all this vinegar here, and then I've got the live mother sitting on the top. And oh yeah, it smells like vinegar. Now this I used just a variety of fruit scraps. So I actually used pineapple, and I used apple and pears and whatever peels and bits that I had, because I wanted to see what it was actually like, just making it from a scrap. So I've got a little plastic strainer, and that's basically going to catch the mother. So let's pour this out and see what it's like. Actually, this is working out well because the fruit is actually staying on the bottom. Wow, that is very, very strong smelling. Let me get a plate. Now, I believe that it's helpful not to use metal. I think it might react with the vinegar. Wow, that's fantastic. So this is all the fruit scrap that I'll toss, but look at this gelatinous mother. It's really amazing. And it's actually, it's layers. There are layers of it. Now we've tossed out our spent fruit. We have the mother, which we're reserving, and we're going to make another vinegar with that. And we're just going to dispense our vinegar. So now I've strained the vinegar into a dark bottle, and I'm just reusing an old wine bottle that you should clean and make sure it's sterilized. Either pour boiling water into it or pop it in the oven at 200 degrees for about 10 minutes. So this is ready to use. Keep it in a dark, fairly cool place. As long as it's capped and sealed, it should stop the fermentation. However, because there is some air in here, you may find that in a couple of months or so, you may start forming another mother. Now, all the benefits that this mother has with all the acetobacter bacteria in here is also in the vinegar, and it's in the form of a residue, which is why when you're making the vinegar, it's not 100% clear. It is foggy, and that's what you want because you've got the live mother in there, which makes it probiotic and gives you all the additional benefits. So if you are using this vinegar on salads, marinades, dressings, anything that does not require heat, you will have all the nutritional benefits of that bacteria. However, if you use it in cooking and you're heating it to more than 140 degrees, it will kill off the bacteria. And actually, that is how they pasteurize vinegar, is by heating it up to 140 degrees to kill off the bacteria, which extends the shelf life. But honestly, these vinegars will stay, they'll keep indefinitely. They may even start aging just like a fine wine, so you might find that the flavor softens or deepens or whatever with time. if it tastes off to you and if it's not something that you're enjoying, toss it out. You really got nothing to lose. You just used some water, sugar, and scraps. So that's that. Now we've got our mother, and with our mother we can make any other kind of vinegar that we want simply by adding a fruit juice to it. So a juice that has natural sugars in it. So if I wanted to make some more apple cider vinegar, all I would do is just add apple cider to it. Let it sit for 60 days. You put the cover back on it. Where is my cover? So you put a coffee filter on it, throw your elastic band on it, make sure no fruit flies are getting in there because you are making vinegar and you're going to attract them. And as I said, you let it sit for 60 days. In 60 days, you will have whatever kind of vinegar that's produced from the liquid that you've added to it. Now I have made, I'll show you, by adding, and I keep all my jars in paper bags so that I can keep track of when I made them. So this actually, I used the mother from a cherry vinegar that I made, and I added vermouth. So I'm making a sweet vermouth vinegar. Now, if you want to make a vinegar that is derived from an alcoholic beverage, such as wine, beer, sherry, port, then you need to make sure that the alcohol content is less than 7%, because any higher could potentially kill your bacteria. So in order to get a 7% alcohol, in this case I used vermouth, which I think is 12% alcohol. I just added half vermouth, half water, distilled water, and basically diluted it to half its 12% alcohol volume to 6%. So then I added that combination of fluid to my mother, and this has been sitting October the 28th. So this has been 1 month, and I'm going to smell it. So it smells like a little bit sour, but still like a fortified wine. If you can see, let me take a picture. So it's not quite ready yet, but what I will do, wow, that is really good vinegar. You can definitely taste the, you can taste a hint of the cherry, and you can taste the vermouth, but it's not distinctive. But it's a sweet vinegar. That is very delicious. And it's only been a month, but you know what? I think I'm ready to dispense this because I like the flavor of it. So again, what I'll do is I'll reserve the mother. I'll add a different type of juice or liquid to it, and I'll make a new type of vinegar. Again, try and keep them all, your vinegars, in dark bottles because it will preserve them longer. And if you're using, these are your little boutique vinegars where you're maybe using a specialty ingredient like wine, you're not going to make tons of gallons. So these 500 ml jars are perfect. And what I do is, once you've added the mother in your liquid, and I've got my coffee filter on it, I just take the ring of the jar and you screw it on, and you see all the air can get through the coffee filter and ferment that and turn it into vinegar. So this is a win. Now, is fantastic. Now let's check on our next vinegar. So this vinegar, I used pure grape juice, and this was actually the juice from white wild grapes that I boiled down and strained it and created juice. And to the juice I added a mother from another vinegar, that I had made earlier in the year. So I'd made some vinegar in March. I used the mother from the vinegar I made in March and just added the grape juice to this. Now I wasn't sure if it was going to work because the grape juice was so sour, but it has not only worked, but it's actually created a brand new mother on the surface of this grape vinegar. So let me show you a close-up. So here's a close-up. This is the original mother that I put in. And this is the new mother that's formed on top. Excuse my Band-Aid. So now, last but not least, let me show you a vinegar that I've left sitting for 6 months. So maybe more than 6 months. I think I made this back in April. So as I said, I usually use a paper bag to keep it in a dark place, and I just cut the bottom off. And I've had it covered with its cloth the whole time. And basically, I've had the vinegar sitting in the mother for the last, so the first months I had the fruit in it, I removed the fruit, I put the mother back into the vinegar, and I let it continue to ripen. So let's see what this vinegar tastes like. I'll tell you right off the bat, the difference between my 6-month batch of vinegar and my 2-month batch of apple cider vinegar is vastly different. The color is different. The younger vinegar is lighter. This has definitely turned into a beautiful honey color, and the scent is almost of a tawny port wine. So let's see what this apple cider vinegar tastes like. It's really very good. It's sour, but it's not so sour that you can't take a gulp of it. So it's very smooth, and it almost tastes like it was aged in an oak barrel. It's really delicious. So I highly recommend that if you are going to make vinegars, try doing using some different juices, use some different beverages, alcoholic beverages. You want to keep it as natural as possible in terms of the juice that you select. So if you're buying organic fruit juices, that's all the better. And as I said, with the vinegars, if the mother is in it, the mother will keep indefinitely. So if I wanted to stop the fermentation of this now, I could either dispense my vinegar, or I could just seal it off and maybe add a piece of plastic underneath this, seal it and keep it in a dark place, and the mother will live in this vinegar, and this vinegar will continue to ripen, I'm sure, and mature with age. So this year for Christmas, why not make some vinegar, try some different flavors, experiment with the length of time, whether you let it sit for 60 days or 90 days or 6 months, see what the flavors are like. And as an alternative to your usual Christmas gift, why not give a gift of a mother? So if you try this and you enjoy it, I hope you share it. Enjoy!